Yeah, a few years back we did indeed go to Australia, my wife and I. The objective was to visit family. The objective was to show off our two new twin boys. And it was a really busy time, okay? A lot of friends, a lot of family. And then one afternoon, I got relieved. I was allowed to go shopping in downtown Melbourne by myself. And if you can't tell, I like to shop. I was on a tram from the suburbs into downtown Melbourne, and I gotta tell you, the trams, their streetcars are really big. They're big, and they're green, and they're far bigger than the streetcars here in Vancouver. The streetcar, the tram, slowed down, because we had arrived at a point, the loop that goes around downtown Melbourne. There's two hospitals there. It slows down mightily. There were trams in front and trams behind. But suddenly, the light must have changed because we were going fast. We were going really fast, and I thought, oh yeah, I'm gonna go shopping soon. Because if you don't know this, I like to shop. But then, the operator, the driver, started screaming, oh God, no, no, no. And then wham! The windshield exploded. The tram filled with smoke. I could taste electricity in my mouth. And electricity tastes like burning copper, burning magnets, and a battery in your mouth. I looked around. A girl had flown across the tram and smashed into the back of the operator and fell to the ground. And she was the first person I went to. I picked her up, and I don't know how I did this. I kicked open the door, and I let her stagger out. Then there was screaming. I looked at the operator. The entire dashboard of this big tram, the steering column, the steering wheels, all the dials, the handle that opened the door, I don't know how, that thing that, the silver wreath, was bent onto him. It had crushing his thighs. His thighs are trapped underneath this incredible carnage of metal. And something strange happened to me. All of a sudden, all those episodes of Saint Elsewhere, MASH, Hill Street Blues, and Third Watch started moving like little Tetris blocks of ersatz medical knowledge and falling into place. I seemed to know what to do. And the first thing I asked him was, can you feel your legs? Because that's what they do on television. Then I checked and looked at his eyes to see if they were dilated. And I don't even know what dilated means. But that's what they do on television. And it was a really awkward situation. And I wasn't sure what I was going to do. And I started thinking, if I pull him out, is he gonna bleed out? And I really don't know what bleed out means. Except that's what they always ask themselves on television. And I was actually thinking, oh my goodness, if I do this, he may sue me for malpractice. And then I said to myself, wait a second, you can't be sued for malpractice. You're not really a doctor. I was in this pickle, and I felt the blood draining from my face. I felt I was gonna give in. I was gonna give up. But then, the driver from the tram behind me came bursting through the door and going, what can I do to help? And something inside me changed. An immense joy came over me. And I can't really explain it, but I knew I was going to help this man. I was meant to be in the moment. And so I was. I told the driver, do you have a crowbar? And she goes, no, I don't have a crowbar, mate. I have a metal rod. I said, I don't know, this isn't it. I said, get me that metal rod stat. Because that's what they do on television. Now I want to tell you something. I grabbed that metal rod with my 2 hands, and I balled my fist as hard as I possibly could, and I raised that metal bar over my head, and I stabbed that dashboard with all my might, and it went in by a whole foot. And then I tried to push it. I tried to push it up, and it would not budge. And again, there was that edge of doubt. I couldn't help this man. But a miracle happened. 5 of the biggest teenage Australian boys came running up to the tram, and they said, "How can we help, mate?" I don't know if they said mate. And I was like Tom Hanks in Saving Private Ryan. I started doing things like this, pointing my finger up. I said, "You two, into the cab, start pushing the metal rod." And I pointed at the other 3 guys. I said, "You, grab the top of the dashboard, hook your legs on the bumper, start pulling now." And they strained mightily. I was so impressed. I was just sort of pushing on the rod myself. It moved half a centimeter. Then it moved a full centimeter. And their muscles, they were very impressive young men, I have to say. Their muscles were rippling, and they pushed that dashboard back. And I was able to slide the operator out of his predicament. And I put him on the floor. And I checked to see, I was afraid. His thigh bone, was it broken? Had it pierced? The flesh, and was he gonna bleed? And there was a weird thing going on, because this whole time, there's this man standing behind me. And he was watching. He wasn't trying to help. He was like really intently watching, like as if he had a professional interest in the situation. And I'm laying there, and he's not bleeding. His eyes are I don't know. Were they dilated? I don't know. And somehow all those chemicals started draining out of me. And I knew I couldn't help him anymore. And I was desperate, because it didn't seem like we were done with the job. So I turned around, and I said, "Help, help! Is there a doctor or a nurse? Come on!" And then the man standing behind me raises his hand, and he goes, "Excuse me, sir, aren't you a doctor?" "No, I'm not a doctor." And then he goes, "I'm a doctor." And I said, "By all means, please take over." Now, I was all messed up, right? I was in this terrible accident. I staggered out, and it was like these mixed emotions inside me. I went to the local restaurant, and I bought 10 bottles of water. And I started handing it out to the people that were passing out on the ground around the tram. It was just heat exhaustion, panic, everything, shock. And apparently I found out you're not actually supposed to give people in shock water, but I'm not a real doctor. And a news crew, this is so weird, because we must have been right next to ABC, Australian Broadcasting Corporation, or something, I don't know what happened. A news crew comes running at me, and they go, "What happened? What happened?" And I said, "Oh, those five young boys, they saved that operator. Why don't you go talk to them?" And then I slunk away. Bit like Batman. More like Bruce Wayne. A little bit Little Hobo. And I went down the alley, and I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna go shopping," but then there was all these other emotions in my head. God, how did I do this? How was I able to do this? And as I approached the harsh light of the sidewalk at the end of the alley, I remembered something. 6 months before that, and this is a true story, I saw a woman get run over by a garbage truck on Seymour and Robson. And I did indeed run up to her. She was crushed. Blood was filling her mouth. Too much blood. I was too afraid. I couldn't help her. Instead, I knelt down beside her, and I held her hand until she died. Because that's what they do on television. Thank you.